Let's begin. Open up Parshas Vayechi, page 268 here. So we're going to start off with the Rashi. How's it sound? We're going to start off with the Rashi. The first pasuk, Vayechi Yaakov. Let's look at the Rashi. So the Rashi asks the question, Lama Parasha Zu Situma. Why is this Parsha a stuma? What does a stuma mean? Stuma means hidden, closed. Stuma, it's closed. What's closed off? We have in the entire Torah, between every Parsha, between Bereshit and between the next Parasha, Noah, there is a line. If there's not a line between one Parsha and another, there's at least a 9-letter space. That's the way it is throughout all of the Torah, except one case, Parashat Vayechi.
Yeah, there's the one.
In Vayechi, when you take a look, no, only Vayechi.
A couple of weeks ago.
When you take a look at Vayechi this week, when they did the Hagba, there wasn't a space. Vayechi started in the same paragraph where Vayigash ends, and it's never like that. It's either a 9-letter space or it's on the next line. So Vayechi is very unique in that it's connected to the last week's parasha in the same thing, and usually that's not the way we have it. So Rashi says, Lama Parasha Zustuma. Why is this parsha hidden? Why is this parsha closed? Why is it not open like all the other parshas? So he says, Lefi shechivan sheniftar Yaakov. Since once Yaakov is niftar, Yaakov Avinu, nistemu enehem velibam shel Yisrael mitzarat hashevud. He says that the eyes and the heart of Israel were closed up due to the exile that began. So how do we explain that?
Everything started with Mitzrayim.
Yeah, but when did the actual exile start?
So he passed away there.
What? No. That's the counting, the 400. But when did the shibud? He says shibud. Shibud means the work. When did the shibud start?
When the brothers passed.
When the brothers. And who was the last brother? I think Levi, right? Yeah. Levi died. And then afterwards they started the shibud. So why is he saying at this point already their eyes and hearts became closed because of all the troubles and all the work? So the Torah explains. And Torah says that it wasn't this have to learn Rashi. What does Rashi mean? This is stuma because of the exile started. No exile started yet. They were still living the good life. They have the yeshiva, they have the brothers, the teaching, they have everything there. So he explains that the spiritual bondage started from Yaakov's death. To explain this, the Tam Vedat explains as follows. He says that as long as Yaakov was around, as long as there's a tzaddik around, Tam Vedat, reason and knowledge. I don't know who's the rabbi.
It's a book?
Yeah. Tam Vedat explains. As long as Yaakov was alive, all Bnei Yisrael looked at him. And when they saw him, they realized, you know what? Our life and our stay here in Mitzrayim is all temporary. Yaakov really always wanted to live in Eretz Yisrael. He did everything in Eretz Yisrael. Even though all the troubles happened to Eretz Yisrael, he wanted to stay there. He's only here temporary. Yaakov then asked, when I pass away, bring me back to Israel. People forgot. The Bnei Yisrael, whoever was there, I was maybe like 100 people, let's say 150. They came down 70. He lived there for 17 years, so you would assume they reproduced at that time at least 30, 40
kids. The way
kids.
they did it was probably like 4,000 or 5,000.
So, 4,000 or 5,000, even better. So people already stopped.
We were about to leave, it was 15 million.
That's because during the shibud, during the hard labor, Hashem blessed them. Whoever was working in hard labor, they got 6 kids at a time. That's why it went so much. So I'm not at this time.
Still normal pace. They started with 70.
Let's say 100, 120. These people already, when Yaakov passed away, they lost that connection that Eretz Yisrael is their place. Now they're living in Mitzrayim when he died. That's what the Talmud explains. That's what means the spiritual bondage that Torah says. Is that they felt that this is their place now, that Egypt is their place, and they started getting involved in what? Instead of learning and doing things exactly. They started getting involved in chasing after a career. They started getting involved in being the luxuries of Egypt, bringing them into their homes,
to do that
and stuff like that. The actual point of life is to be a good Jew. Your primary, like we mentioned last week, is to learn Torah, do mitzvot, and do the right things. Okay, you only work in order to support Torah, to support yourself, so you can learn Torah.
What about the curse where it says,
That's a curse. It's exactly why it's a curse.
That's why you have to work.
That's why
but I'm saying,
that hour.
but according to this right now, where you're like, oh, they stopped
not telling
learning.
you work complete. Stop
They didn't
completely.
stop. They didn't
Everybody
stop
works
learning.
according to his own people.
They didn't stop learning.
Piss me off.
They didn't stop learning. What they did was they started chasing after some luxuries. They started realizing that they started thinking Egypt was their stay now, and they're going to make their houses fancy, and they're going to do stuff like that instead of putting their primary concern in that. That's what the spiritual bondage and the Torah and the Talmud that explains that happens. Now let's look at the next part of Rashi. Rashi says after this, "Sheitchilu l'shabedam," right? And they started to work them. Okay, davar achar, another explanation. Shebikesh legalot et haketz levanav v'nistam mimenu. He found this in Bereshit Rabbah. All right. Now,
he brings the source over there?
Yeah, he's in Bereshit Rabbah. It's 96.
I don't have the source here.
He brings it down. Now, what does this mean? He wanted to reveal the end of days to his children, and the Shekhinah left him, and it was hidden from him. He wasn't able to continue. And where do you see that actually in the Torah itself that he wanted to give them the ending? If you go to 49:1, Perek Mem Tet, Pasuk Aleph, it starts with this: Vayikra Yaakov el banav. Yaakov called to his children, Vayomer, Hesfu v'agid lachem, et asher yikra etchem ba'acharit hayemim. He called them, and he said,
let me tell you what happens at the end of the day.
Assemble yourselves, and I will tell you what will befall you in the end of days. So you see clearly that Yaakov wanted to tell his children what's going to happen in the days of Mashiach. And what happened? The parsha became closed because Hashem took away his nevuah, and that's when he started blessing them instead of telling them what's going to happen. Now, that's everybody knows. That pshat was all you learn that when you're little. But the question is, why? What's so bad if we know when Mashiach's coming?
Because then you're not going to do anything until the last year.
Let's know. Let's find out.
Because doesn't it depend on us?
So he says good, and you said good. You both said perfect. And now you have to develop the thought. And this is the way you develop it. There are two ways Mashiach can come. Right? Everybody knows there are two ways. Everybody knows this. What's the two ways? A, right? Type A is that we do teshuvah. We do what we're supposed to do. We're all friends. We're all ba'achdud. We're all doing the correct things. Mashiach will come. We had teshuvah. We're doing the right things. Mashiach comes. That's the optimal point in Judaism. This is the way we're supposed to behave. Mashiach can come. B, if we continue in our ways that we're doing now, not the greatest ways, then there will come a deadline where the world cannot continue with the 6,000, 6,015. Everybody heard different talking about this. Whatever you heard. If this deadline, so that's the second thing. The world can continue after that.
Rambam says you can get another 6,000 years after that.
Okay, whatever it is.
204. There's one pshat.
I heard a scary thing. What's it called? Rav Adair brought down the Arizal and said that the Mashiach doesn't ever have to come.
The Gemara in Sanhedrin says Mashiach already came.
So what do you we got all the cushions from?
What do you do then? But the Maisa, we believe Mashiach will come at a deadline.
Okay.
Mashiach will come at a deadline. Now, which one could Yaakov actually say?
The deadline.
And why not the other type? Why not the other one?
Depends on you.
Okay, it depends on you because it's Bechira. Okay. So, if Rav Yaakov Sadgura, he says if Yaakov would have mentioned the final deadline, it'll be as if he was implying that you won't be able to do teshuvah. And such a thing, Hashem says, I can't let you say it. And he took away the nevuah.
Okay,
but more than that, there's another thing. There's another thing that you said. And there's a song, I brought the song book again. There's a song that they sing in a lot of Sephardic communities. They sing on this week, a special song. It's called Lama Haketz Nistamna.
That's the name of the song?
What does that mean? Lama Haketz Nistamna. Why is the end hidden? Lama Haketz Nistamna. So what's the answer? Ne'eman. In order to be believers. Like you said, a person will sit back and relax. Mashiach's coming anyway then. I don't have to do anything now. I don't have to have my faith. I don't have to worry about anything. I can do whatever I want. In the end, Mashiach will come. We don't want you to sit back and take the back seat and wait for Mashiach to come. We want you to be proactive, right? There's two ways you can be reactive and proactive. Oh, Mashiach's finally here. Okay, it's a day before Mashiach. Let me do teshuvah. No, we want you to be proactive. We want you to bring Mashiach. We want you to work on that. So what do? You do mitzvot. You believe in God, ne'eman, all these different types of things. That's the point of why this parsha is closed. So to review, A, there was a spiritual
let me do-
exile.
A, because Yaakov passed away, the children felt disconnected to Israel.
Correct.
B, because
Okay,
he wanted to tell them the time, but the Shekhinah left. So
why did the Shekhinah leave?
Because if he told you, you're not going to believe, and you're going to wait till the last second, and then it's going to be kabuta. We can't make it.
We can't make
come
it.
out.
Very good. Very good. So
If I do review it, sticks. If I don't, it doesn't.
So that now explains that that Rashi, which always is an enigma to me. It was always a question to me. What's so bad about knowing the end of days?
I wouldn't mind knowing.
Yeah, we don't mind. But it's impossible to calculate it.
Yeah.
Daniel in Sefer Daniel, he gives a number, a half, and 1,000, and a half, and a half.
Yeah,
and
no,
try-
but like Rambam said,
everyone tried to figure it out.
the more you try, the more confused you
The
turn
more
out.
confused you'll get. So that's why we have to be believers. Ne'eman. We're believers, the sons of believers, and we're waiting for Hashem to bring us to Him. All right, now we go on to the first pasuk. So finally we can start the first pasuk. And it says, this was the life of Yaakov in the land of Egypt. Sheva Esr Shana. He lived 17 years in Egypt. Vayechi Yimei Yaakov Shenei Hayav. Vayechi Yimei Yaakov. And the day of Yaakov, Shenei Hayav, the years of his life, Sheva Shanim V'Araba'im Umad Shana, of 147 years. So if you hear it, I already sort of exaggerated and enunciated on the words Yimei Yaakov Shenei Hayav. That means these are the days of Yaakov,
the years of
his life. Now, if you want to tell me how long someone lived, what do you say?
This is years.
He lived 120 years, right?
Get it over.
That's it.
Yeah.
Why does the Torah then say Vehi Yimei Yaakov? This is the days of Yaakov, Shenei Hayav, the years of his life. It's redundant. It's unnecessary. Why are you telling me days? Just tell me the word years. That's it.
Same thing with Chayesara.
Yeah. So, but there Rashi explains why it says this. So, what is the explanation here? Rashi doesn't bring down an explanation here. At this one. So, what are we going to explain here? So this is a fundamental concept.
Yeah, it's Rosh Hashanah.
This is a fundamental concept that will answer a lot of questions the person has when he learns Tanakh. It says, and it's going to show you a big difference between a tzaddik and a rasha. What is days and what are years? Days. What about a day? A day, how fast does a day go by? You wake up, you go to sleep, the day's gone. Everything's over, right? What about a year? A year feels a little bit longer. A year takes your time. You start in January.
Not like a day.
I remember at least when I was in school, years felt a very long time.
Yes.
But once you finish school and you start working and you get married, your year goes very fast. But still, it's slower than a day, right? A year is much slower than a day. But for Yaakov, the reason why it says Yimei Yaakov, Shenei Hayav, this is the days of Yaakov, the years of his life, is to tell us that his years were like days. Meaning that his years flew by. Just like the days fly by, the same way his years flew by. What does that mean?
What do we do with this?
A tzaddik, he's always pursuing another mitzvah, another way to learn.
I don't think so.
You want to check?
You put in the park or driveway here, so
Yeah.
maybe it is you.
Is that open there?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it's you.
I don't know what he wants.
You're blocking him?
No, he's good. That's why I don't know what he wants.
Maybe he doesn't want your car inside. Where's your car? He's blocking?
In the shul, this is the neighbors honking.
You're here in front,
Yeah.
not in this thing.
No. Oh yeah, this thing. In this thing.
Here.
No, yeah, but all the way down.
So we should move it over here in front of the house. Well,
He
car
parks
park.
here.
Probably.
It's a white car.
It might be Cohen.
Let's check.
Go check.
We're going to who lives upstairs?
A religious man, it's not like always wants to pursue another mitzvah, wants to learn another daf. They always want to do another thing. They're never comfortable in the position they are. They always want to pursue something else. Tzaddikim are always pressed for time. You always see them, they're always like, I have to get to the next thing, I have to do the next thing, I have to go to the they're always running to the next shir, the next lecture, and something like that. Because they realize that time slips right by. They need to do as much as they can in this world. One time, the Bnei Yissaschar Remember, we never said Yisachar in the Torah, really Yisachar, but there was a Rebbe, his name was Bnei Yisachar. He walked into the marketplace one day, and he sees a group of men, some standing, some sitting, and they're yapping, and they're talking, and they're, Jewish men. They're just talking and having a good time. So he walks over to them and asks, "What are you guys doing?" So they tell the rabbi, "Listen, Rebbe, we're killing time until the next customer comes. We're killing time." So the rabbi says, "Excuse me, if you have so much time to kill, rather than kill it, donate it to me." He says, "I don't have any time. I'm so pressed. I 2 minutes here, I go, I come, I don't have time for anything." So, to tzaddikim, time is of the essence. And for Yaakov, his life, 147 years, just flew right by because he was always pursuing another religious aspect and he never felt that he was done with what he had to do. And this explains a question that always bothered me. When the episode of Yaakov and Rachel, Yaakov meets Rachel the first time. And he says, "I love her and I want to get married to her." He then goes to Lavan and he says, "I'll work for you 7 years. I'll work for you for 7 years. I'll get married to Rachel." 7 years pass. And Yaakov says, and the pasuk says, Yaakov says, it felt like a few days.
That was my question too.
It felt like a few days, and because of his love for Rachel. The 7 years felt like a few. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was getting married, and I had to wait whatever how many months before I got married, it felt like a lifetime. It felt... Stop. So, they explain it as follows. Yaakov's love for Rachel is a whole different love than what we can call love. His love was on a spiritual level. He knew that from his union with Rachel, the Shvatim are supposed to come. Mashiach is going to come. The future, the whole of Klal Yisrael comes from there. There's no continuation without his children. So Yaakov felt that he had to do a preparation before he can get married. And that's why he spent so many years learning Torah, and he didn't go right away to Lavan. He was preparing and preparing and preparing. And now that he came to Lavan's house, he was still doing the Shem Yuchud for 7 years. And when it came time to get married, he still felt, "I'm not ready. It's too fast. It felt like a few days. I didn't have enough time to prepare." And then he gets married.
So you should have been upset.
So
you shouldn't have been upset that you got married to Leah then.
He got upset because you came on over for the wrong person. Now, because it's mekach tal, it's a fake sale. You told me we're going to give me one, you're going to give me another one.
Yeah, but
you have to be upset.
But you're Yaakov Avinu. You know everything that happens. It happens for the best. It's not something you get
Still,
upset about.
You're right. Everything does happen for the best, and that's why he kept Leah. He could have divorced her. Why didn't he divorce her?
That's true.
It happened because it's supposed to happen, but that's not the way I was preparing for it. Not the way I thought about it. You're right. That's why it had to happen that way. But still. But you understand why he felt like it was a few days now. Because his days slipped right by. He's preparing for 7 years and it felt like a few days to him. His religious pursuit, it just flies right by. That's the way the great people looked at it. The Hafetz Chaim said, you don't have to be a wise person. You don't have to be he said, you don't have to be a frum person. You don't have to be a religious person. He said, you have to be a wise person. He said, what do I mean by a wise person? He said, Mesech HaGiga, the Avdalah says, who's a shoteh? Who's an idiot? Who's an imbecile? So the Gemara answers, anybody who loses anything that they give him. They give him something, he loses it. He says, that's people. You give them time, you give them life, and they waste it. And they lose it. This is people that literally are wasting and losing their time. They're considered fools. Rafam says that a Jew has a mission to complete. Every day has its particular mission that you can do. And a potential that you can fulfill. And the person has to use his energies, his kohot, to do that stuff on that day, because otherwise it slips right through him. Rav Chaim Vital writes in Shari Kedusha that a person should always think, woe is to me if I let a day in my life slip by without learning Torah and doing chesed. He mentioned both. He said learning Torah and doing chesed. If you let one day go by without learning Torah and doing chesed, Oy li, he says, woe unto me. So bad it is. We ask Hashem every year, Rosh Hashanah, give us life. What are you asking for life? To waste it? Why should I give you time to waste? Why? I'm giving you a present, Hashem says, and you're wasting it. You have to use your time correctly. You have to use your life correctly. In such a way that your life feels like it flew right past you. Because you were so busy pursuing religious pursuits. If you, by the way, they do a survey. They ask old people when they're about to die, what do you regret the most? And most times they say two things. They say, A, that we spend too much time working. We thought we needed a lot of money, and we're always trying to get the next mortgage, the next car, the next thing that came out. And he said we worked so much, we didn't have time for anything else, to pursue anything we really cared about. And as Jews, what we care about, Torah and Mitzvot. If you pursue work too long, you don't have no time for Torah and Mitzvot. And he says the second thing they always say is that we didn't spend enough time with family. We were busy at work, we were there, and we gave up all other family functions. And that's why, if you look in Judaism, the main two things we have is learning Torah, doing mitzvot, and having family functions. Shabbat meals, chatunat, right, bar mitzvahs. That's what it is. To be together with sviva of kedusha and bring people up.
The Gra or the Chofetz Chaim, where his sister came, he got up, he looked at her, he's like, all right, I'll see you in like 30 years. And
Because the difference is that Torah to him was on a different level than it is to us. We unfortunately aren't at that level where Torah is the primary. Even if we make it our primary, we're still,
Still called us. Had to go to lecture. Foundation.
Okay, so you understand, there's a difference. When you get to
What
that,
was that?
if you get to the level of the Vilna Gaon and you don't do that thing, then that's going to be a question. You go, why you need to spend more time with your sister? You saw, you said, hi, how you doing? That's it.
He's here for
There's a
50
difference.
years.
It's his sister. He had a wife.
All right, now, let's go on.
You see your sister every day, bro.
Let's go
Because I
on.
live in the same country. People move to like Israel. They don't see their sister for 30 years.
Vayomer le Yosef,
This guy.
and
This
Perik
guy.
48.
You don't see your sister.
ויהי אחרי הדברים האלה, ויאמר ליוסף, הנה אביך חולה. They told Yosef, your father is sick. Now, the Gemara in Baba Metzia, I believe on Daf 87, brings down, and I'm incorporating the Perkei Rabbi Eliezer as well in this. It says that prior to Yaakov Avinu, sickness that led to death did not exist. How did people die?
They sneezed and died.
They sneezed and they died, right? The same way the soul entered through the nose, you sneeze, and the soul left through the nose. That's why, by the way, the universal custom
Bless you.
is to say, L'chaim tovim, la briut, then people say, buzdarova, right? or people say, God bless you. I remember when I was growing up, when someone sneezed, all Americans used to say, God bless you. Today, you hear what they say?
Bless you.
Now they say, bless you. God's out of the picture. It's just bless you. But that's a different story. But that's where the custom comes from, saying bless you and saying, to good life, because they used to be, you sneeze, and that was it. So to go against what used to happen, we say that thing. But Yaakov prayed to God, give me sickness prior to I die. Now, if you take a look around at people that are dying, and you see their sicknesses, there's so much pain and suffering. You just look at them. I work in a hospital. I see it every time. These people that are dying, and there's so much pain. We're loading them with pain meds, and it doesn't even help them. They're so sick, and they just want to die. So why go through that? Why did Yaakov ask to be sick prior to that? What's so special about that? Isn't it so much easier just, okay, I live my life, I'm 147, I sneeze, and I'm out of here. It's so much less painful. Why did Yaakov? What was the point? Remember, when the tzaddikim do certain things, there has to be a point that we have to learn from this. Yaakov said, it's more important to have a chance to set my affairs in order, bless my children, instruct them how to live the life after I die, to make my last will and testament, rather than just go easily. It's important that before a person ends his life, to put everything in order. And you can't do it before you die. Like when you're 40 years old and you're having a good life, okay, now I'm going to write my last will and testament. The reason is that when I'm 40 years old, even if you think about that and you contemplate it, you're not in that mindset. When a person is about to die, he sees life for what life really is. He has a true perspective of what's going on. And not only that, whatever he says on his deathbed, people tend to take it to heart much more than if he said it in his prime of his life. And therefore, Yaakov said, I want to instruct my children. I want to give them blessing. I want to be able to tell them how to continue their life. Give me a sickness so I should have a clue of what's going on so I don't just pass away from this world. The Vilna Gaon, he brings down, when he was dying, they bring down that when he was on his deathbed, he gave a musar haskell. He gave a huge, musar to the people. What did he do? He started crying. So he said, what, are you in pain? What's going on? He says, no. He sees this tzitzis, he said, here, I'm wearing tzitzit. You see it? He says, in this world, I can buy this tzitzit for a few pennies, right? Whatever it costs a couple of dollars, it doesn't cost too much.
$32 now.
Well, it depends which one you get. But you can get a tzitzit, right? I walk in.
I was just gonna say
You can get it for $10, whatever it is. Inflation from the Vilna Gaon. Inflation from the Vilna Gaon times.
Let's go buy 30 cents.
Inflation from the Vilna Gaon times. Today's prices are equal to what his pennies were worth. But he said, look what you can do for something for so cheap. You can make a mitzvah for every second that you wear it. In the next world, you don't have this chance anymore. And people took a huge lesson from it. You have to spend your time in this life correctly. When the Khatam Sofer was passing away, he was on his deathbed. He called his daughters and daughter-in-laws inside to his room. Usually they call the men in, you give barakah, you do stuff like that. Why is he calling his daughters and daughter-in-laws inside? He lived already when society was starting to be modernized. And he told his daughters and his daughter-in-laws that I'm asking you to always remain tzniut. No matter how fashion changes, what changes. This is a big, great rabbi, and he's telling his daughter-in-laws to keep the halachot and tzniut. When he said it, and they heard it while he's dying, this rabbi has nothing better to do but to tell us, girls, to keep tzniut. It must be very important on his mind that he's telling us this. And they took it to heart. This is what Yaakov did. He told his children, you're like this, you're like that, and he gave them instruction and rebuked them and gave them barachot, so they feel it. And to help them with their spiritual bondage and the eventual, the physical bondage as well. That was the point of it. When the Nitziv was passing away, he called in his son, Rav Chaim Berlin, and he said to his son, I know that you are a great rabbi and you're a great scholar, and plus to that, you're a great speaker. You can mesmerize people with you when you speak, and people will listen to you. And I'm passing away, and I know you're going to work on a eulogy for my day when I die, for the 7th day, for the 30th day, and the year.
Where we give eulogy.
And he says to him, listen, I don't want you to spend time writing these eulogies. I want you to deliver one, but I want you to deliver it nice and short. And don't spend a lot of time doing it. He says, on the other hand, what should you do with this time rather than spending it writing my eulogies? Learn Torah. Do another Mishnah, learn another page of Gemara. This is the biggest elevation for the soul. The fact is that the Chidah writes the Mishnah. Well, first we all know Mishnah has the same letters as Neshama. He says that's the biggest elevation for someone's soul, is that they do a Siyam Mishnayot for them at the 30 days and at the end of the year, at the first year as well. It's very important. Every year at the Yotzart, at the day of the death, they're supposed to finish Mishnayot again. People think that it's just to come say Barach Hamazon and Shalpak and go further, but it's not. Yeah. The point is to bring.
Hopefully my parents should live 150 years.
It's the point is
what's time to finish Mishnayot every single year?
It's to finish the Mishnayot. You don't finish it on your own, so you get people to help you. You ask people around. They have sign-up sheets. You do these things. You go around. You ask people to do it. And I've seen when great rabbis pass away, and a lot of people are very inspired by them. They do Gemarot for them. They finish all Gemara, Bavli and Yerushalmi. People split up Parakim. People split up different, Yeah,
for a whole month, they finished the whole Shas.
The whole Shas.
Rabbi was doing one page. The only one in all of America.
Everybody do page, this and that, and they did, and they completed it.
They had to do it before 2 in the afternoon because Israeli time.
It's a big elevation for the soul. Now, there's a pasuk.
Found out a way you could do it twice a year.
There's a pasuk.
You learn a Seder Mishnah every month.
There's a pasuk in Perek Nun, in the last Perek.
Because the Seder flies by like that.
In Perek Nun, pasuk Yud Zayin. Listen to this. Listen to this. The brothers are sending a message to Yosef, and they say him like this. V'ata sana lefesha avdei eluhei avicha vayef Yosef dabaram elav. They say to him, so now please forgive the spiteful deed of the servants of your father's God. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. They're telling Yosef, listen, don't be so mad at us what we did. We're sorry. We're like this, we're like that. And Yosef says, I cannot believe that you are thinking that I was upset at you for what happened. Because everything happened under the watchful eyes of God. But the question is, what do they mean, va'ata, and now? Va'ata with the ayin means, and now. They're telling him, and now, don't,
after Yaakov
passed. So everybody knows they said, maybe when Yaakov was alive, you were being calm. And now he passes them. It's exactly what they're saying. When Yaakov, the brothers pleaded with Yosef to forgive them. Now, they were saying that we as children of Yaakov, it will be a chilul Hashem if the Mitzrayim see us now starting to fight. So now it's important that you forgive us. And Yosef said, what do you mean? Why do you think I would never forgive you? So he started to cry. So Rav Pam learns a very practical lesson from here. And he says, people think that after someone passes away, they want to do a lot of mitzvot for the nifter. They want to do the nishmat. So they sponsor classes, they sponsor books, they do all sorts of things with money and stuff like that to bring the neshama to a higher level. Rav Pam says that the number one thing, he says even they do mashnayot and all these different things, but he says the number one thing that they can do for their parents is to stay in a harmonious relationship with one another.
The siblings.
The siblings. Because a lot of times what happens is afterwards someone blames the other one you have because you and little things break. Rabbi once said that there was this family, two brothers, and they were always fighting. And the yeshivot, one would make it here, one would make it there, and the same rabbi had to go to two places. People like that. He says that's the worst thing for the soul. Rav says the worst thing for the soul. The father and the mother, they want to see the children can get along. It's the worst thing in the world when they see the children not getting along. It really kills them inside when they see that the children can't get along. And you're doing mishnayot, and you're doing all sorts of good things for your parents, for whatever passes away, and meanwhile, you're fighting away. No one needs those stuff, Rav Pam says. It's better that you be harmless with one each other than do any of those other stuff. If you can do both of them, even better. Now, what this pasuk says, in the same pasuk we're going back to 48:1, it says, and it was told to Yosef, it was told to Yosef that your father is sick. Why was it told to Yosef that his father is sick? What? He didn't see his father for 22 years, and now that his father is in Egypt for 17 years, Yosef has no direct connection to him, that someone, a third person is coming and telling him, by the way, your dad's sick. He should be telling people, say the Fuash for my dad, say Tehillim for him, because he's sick. No, people are coming to tell him, by the way, your father is sick. He's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. He goes and he runs to his father. Why is Yosef not knowing it? Yosef should be the first one knowing it. He should be taking care of his father. He should be having all the information. He should be next to him. For 22 years he didn't see him. He should spend every quality moment he can. So Da'at Zekinim explains. And he says, Yosef on purpose limited his time and visitation with Yaakov.
Only with the brothers.
And he says, why? He says, because Yosef felt that Yaakov would ask him what happened, how he ended up in Egypt. Yaakov was interested. How did it happen, my son? 22 years, I thought he was dead. And now he's in Egypt. And Yosef felt that if he's going to be around, Yaakov was going to ask for details. And he doesn't want to not answer his father, but at the same time, it's Lashon Hara. So he says, you know what? I'd rather not see my father than get into this problem of saying Lashon Hara on my brothers and saying bad reports about them. So you see how far a person has to go out of his way not to say Lashon Hara. Rabbi Gifter gives another explanation of this. Rabbi Gifter said a beautiful explanation. He says that Yosef was considered a king, right? So I can think, man, he's considered a king. There's a halacha that everybody has to honor a king. So Yosef felt bad. He didn't want to walk in front of Yaakov because he knew Yaakov knew the halacha. And Yaakov would get up and honor Yosef and do stuff for Yosef. And Yaakov was his father, Yosef is his son. So Yosef didn't want his father.
So what would you do with that?
Yosef didn't want his father to go and serve him. So he said, you know what, I'd rather not get into this whole problem. Who has to serve who? I'm the king of the father to the king. He said, you know what? We'll keep our visitation limited.
Visiting hours and things too.
In fact, the pasuk says later on when Yosef came, Israel strengthened himself. He was lying on the bed.
I was always wondering why.
He was lying on the bed, and now he stood up. Why did he stand up? Why was he sat up? Because he had to give kavod to Yosef as the melech. Now, there's a story they bring down from Maram in Rothenburg. That Maram in Rothenburg was an Adam Gadol, who was a big rabbi. His father also was a rabbi. But his father wasn't as big as him. And in Europe, they had a lot of rabbinical conferences. And every time, Maram Rothenburg never went to any of these conferences. So they asked him, why? You can make such a big difference there. People listen to you. You can make a huge difference. And you're just being there. So he explained to them, my father goes to these stuff. And if I go there, my father's going to have to stand up for me. Because I'm the gadol. Everybody looks to me. And my father is a rabbi, but he's not on that level. I cannot embarrass my father again. I don't want him to stand up for me. Like that. I'd rather not go. You see how much a person has to give up his own kavod to protect the kavod of somebody else. Yosef not only gave up his own kavod, he 22 years didn't see his father. He still didn't continue to see his father to protect someone's honor and protect Yaakov's honor and to protect his brothers from saying something wrong that Yaakov may curse them afterwards because he find out what they really did. Right? So you see how far a person has to go on this.
I heard the same thing with Baba Sali and his son Baba Meir.
No, and
Baba Sali would get up for his son because Baba Meir was apparently bigger.
there are cases like that. Yeah.
So what would you do out of
Well, halakha, it's a big problem halachically because you're not letting make your father work for you. At the same time, he has to because you're Adam Gadol, you're a king or something like that. It's a hard thing. Now, as this was happening, so when Yosef heard that his father was sick, it says, "Vayikach et shnei vanav imo." He took his two sons with him. Midrash says it was Osnat, his wife's advice. Osnat told him, "Listen, your father's dying. You better get a bracha from him." It's like getting a bracha from God. So take his two sons, Et Menashe et Ephraim, and he gave them a bracha. And the bracha, I didn't write down the pasuk for it, but the bracha I believe is right here on 48:20. It says, Perek 48 pasuk Chaf. Vayivarchem bayom hahu, and he blessed them on that day, lemor, saying, Becha yivarech Yisrael, by you shall Israel bless, saying, Yesimecha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chemenashe. And that's where we get the custom that every Friday night, the parent, the father, and the mother both give a blessing to their children.
Oh, the mom also?
Yes. They brought down in Hag is that they both do it. And how do they do it? They call so I see different people do different stuff, but the way I've seen it in most of them and most Svarim say is that after Kiddush,
the father does it.
they come to the father and the father puts a hand on him and he says, if it's a boy, Yismecha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chemenashe. If it's a girl, Yismecha Elohim k'saref b'racha v'leah. And he says, Yivarecha Hashem yishmerecha. He says the berachot. And then you can add anything else you want, and then they kiss the father's hand. And the same thing the mother does. I saw some people do it before the end of Shalom Aleichem. They do it because they say the angels are going to answer Amen. So it's a huge thing. Angels answering Amen to the berachot for the kids. So they say, but the last stanza of Shalom Aleichem, it's Be'etzechem L'Shalom, right? Send it away.
Rabbi says you don't have to read it.
Some people say not even to say that because,
we don't read it.
But some people say it's better to say that because you don't know what's going to happen on your Shabbos table. So you rather Melachim not witness all the averot that's going to go on your Shabbos table, Lashon Hara, the wrong stuff coming out. So you just rather send the angels away earlier. But some people don't say B'etzechem L'Shalom. But some people who say B'etzechem L'Shalom, they like to say the Baracha right before B'etzechem L'Shalom, so the angels can answer Amen. Personally, the way I do it, I say B'etzechem Shalom, and then I give Baracha after Kiddush, because I feel the angels stay around anyway, you know? I just tell them, whenever you want to go, you should leave in the...
Take your time.
You know, it's like when someone comes to you to visit you, you tell them, listen, I'll drive you back. You're not telling them, let's go now. I'll drive you back, you know, B'etzechem Shalom. When you leave, it should be in peace. It might get the wrong hint, but that's what it is.
Stop reading.
Now, why, by the way, why do you kiss the father's hand?
Respect. It's like to say thank you for whatever
it's thank you, and it's also because you want to become worthy of the blessing. The blessing was put through the hand.
Okay.
That's why Hashem said, bless the Chai Yisrael. That's the way we bless our children. So you kiss the hand in order to be worthy of getting the blessing. Another reason why we kiss Tzaddikim's hands, you know, a lot of times you just see a Tzaddik, you kiss their hands, because Tzaddikim, they write Torah all day long. That their hand is imbued with Torah. Chidushei Torah. So when you kiss that hand, like kissing Sefer Torah. It's like you're getting a beracha by kissing those hands that write Torah. That's why you kiss Tzaddikim's hands.
So you shouldn't just kiss every random rabbi's hand.
Apparently, that's what I understood as well from this, but I've seen as well that it says to kiss every rabbi's hand.
I don't know who you've been kissing.
No, but it says, but he's saying right, because only rabbis who write Torah. But Lamaisa, it doesn't work that way. I've seen
it. Why have a mincha to kiss the beard? You never heard that?
I've seen
when you give, a lot of times you grab the beer and you just not kiss.
I saw they take pieces of beer that falls out and they keep it in their book. But
no,
I've seen that.
No, you like reach over, touch, and then kiss your finger.
Because first of all, the Zohar says that the beard is a beracha. Everything comes through it. It's
it's
everything. The bracha goes through that. Yeah. It's like the tunnel for it. It's the pathway for it. And also that it's the hadarat panim. Hadarat panim. It's the beauty of the face. as well.
I wouldn't say that.
That's what they brought down. That's what the Talmud brings down. The Zohar brings
bringing down a lot of
It's a
curses.
huge.
Yeah, if you cut, if you shave,
If you shave it at all, it's in the what's it called, Rosh Hashanah, the Machzor, the
it's a big thing to the beard. That's why maybe people will do it. But what is so great? What is so great of saying that your children should be like Ephraim and Menashe? Yaakov says everyone's going to bless them like Ephraim and Menashe. What is so special of Ephraim and Menashe that all of Israel should bless them as Ephraim and Menashe? You have to go? It just took a few more minutes. So he says you have to look at Ephraim and Menashe. They are brothers, right?
They were good brothers.
And they were the best brothers the Torah ever brought down. Go back from the beginning of time. Cain and Hevel, one guy killed the other. The covenant wasn't accepted. Killed. Yitzhak and Yishmael was playing target practice on Yitzhak's
tried to
head.
rape him a few times.
Whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yaakov and Esav, no words.
Misachek, to play with him.
You don't even have to say anything about Yaakov and Esav. That's a given. Yosef and his brothers, they also whatever they did, but it was still done. They messed up there. Then it comes the brothers of Ephraim and Menashe. Not only they didn't fight, when Yaakov switched his hands, and they said, Ephraim says, Menashe, he says, I put my left hand on you, and Ephraim, I put you in the right hand, and Ephraim is the younger one. And Menashe says, I accept. And Ephraim says, I accept.
Of course
they
didn't accept.
They know.
I would have also accepted.
Remember, Esav did when he didn't get the beracha? He went crazy. Oh, you give me the cheap bracha, give me the second one, the leftovers, what's going on? I'm not getting... Menashe should have done the same thing. Well, I'm the older son, and you're giving me the cheap bracha? You're giving me the left hand, and you're giving him the right hand? And he said, no, I accept. Well, that's what parents do. That's what we mentioned before as well.
So we don't do it, right? We don't switch hands.
Nah.
No?
Because what we do, we take one child at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
One at a time.
Yeah, it's you just put them all like that.
Now why? Why you do this? This is what we mentioned before. We're praying, the parents are praying that the children should always remain happy together. That they shouldn't fight. It should be like a fine Menashe. It should always be, I accept, okay, because in life, one brother's going to be richer than the other. It's going to be given. One's going to be one's going to have a good, and someone's going to, maybe the other one's going to have a little bad to him. And one could be jealous of the other and hate him afterwards and be all upset about him. So they're blessing. It should be a Ephraim and Menashe. Ephraim was this one, Menashe was that way. They were happy with each other no matter what they got. How special it is that when the brothers are there together.
Kanye, which pasuk is this?
That's from Tehillim. 33, I think. 133. I wrote down 133. So it has to be 133.
Right.
Okay. Now, another reason why they say they bless them like Ephraim and Menashe, you should bless your children like Ephraim and Menashe. Now we live in Galut. We live in exile. Ephraim and Menashe, where did they grow up? They grew up in Egypt. The only one they had to themselves was themselves and Yosef.
Osnat?
Osnat, but she never learned Torah anywhere. She knew from Yosef. But Yosef was their rabbi and their leader and everything. It's just two brothers and one guy. They didn't even have a minyan. Zimun, they had to wait until they became 13 or right? Whatever it was. But you understand that they didn't have much of a support. Meanwhile, by the Shvatim, they had themselves, the older brothers, a huge amount of brothers. They had their father. They saw Yitzchak, right? They were able to learn from him as well. They had their own children later on, and they had a huge support and everything. But Ephraim and Menashe, they only had themselves and they had Yosef. So we bless our children saying, you should be like Ephraim and Menashe. Even though you live in this exile, and there's nobody that you can, rely on,
Grab on.
you should still remain committed and loyal Jews to Hashem.
So technically they're better than the brothers.
They are, and that's why Yaakov added them as brothers. Because they're in such a level. Even in Egypt, they remained as high as the Shvatim.
They didn't sell the other one out.
So we see how special it is, and that's why Yaakov says everyone should bless them. Not Reuven and Shimon, they could be like Reuven and Shimon. Not like Levi, Yehuda. No, you should bless them like Ephraim and Menashe. A third reason is Menashe was a more worldly type of person, right?
Yeah.
When the Torah says Yosef used a translator and interpreted, it was Menashe. When the guy who ran after the brothers, it was Menashe. The Midrash said. Ephraim, meanwhile, he liked to sit and learn all day. In fact, when Yaakov came for 17 years, Ephraim was next to Yaakov learning. Mm-hmm. So when we give baracha, we tell our children, you should be like Ephraim and Menashe. You should have both. The Torah, and you should have Parnassah as well. But which one did we mention first? Ephraim. Because the person has to make Torah as primary. And worldly matters, his worldly career is just to be something to help him to support himself. But the main thing is his Torah career. Torah should be the priority. There's one last thing. We have time, or we have to go.
Yeah, go.
Yeah?
I have time. You good?
You have time, John? Like 2 minutes.
Right.
You got okay. The last thing that I wanted to mention was the power of the smile. In pasuk 49:12, he already starts giving berachot. He gives a beracha to Yehuda, and he says, "Chachlili einayim meyayin uven shinayim michalab." To Yehuda, yes. He says, "Red-eyed from wine and white tooth from milk." The Gemara in Ketuvot explains this as follows. He says, when a person displays the whites of his teeth, when he smiles warmly at his friends, it is more beneficial than giving him a cup of milk to drink. So that's what you're learning from this is that Rabbi Nosson says, even when a person is unable to give his friend anything, but if he greets him pleasantly, as if he has given him all the gifts in the world, this simple, it feels a lot to him. You know, you don't have to give to that guy something. You have to give him a pleasant face. You have to show nice to him. This simple concept is often overlooked. When a person smiles warmly at another person, he makes them feel good. It's as if, I want to see you. I'm glad to see you. I'm happy that you're here and you're alive. Instead of giving the person the look like, why are you here? It's a big difference. Therefore, we say in Nishmat every time on Shabbat, we say, when we're praying about Hashem, we say our eyes are brilliant like the sun and the moon. When can a person's eyes become brilliant like the sun and the moon? When a person's happy, he's radiant, life is just coming out of him. The ability to do chesed is not limited to those with time and money. A person can do chesed just with a smile or a friendly word, a little time and effort to listen to somebody, to help someone out of their bad state. And the Chavetz Chaim says, and the Rabbi Shaul Salanter says, that a person's heart is a Reshut Yachid, and his face is a Reshut Rabim. How do they explain that? That a person, he can be sad, but he only can be sad in his heart, because no one else sees that. But your face, everyone else sees. And if you're sad, you're going to turn everybody else sad. That's what we learn. And it's brought down in many concepts in Judaism. And recently, they did a scientific study to see people's expressions affect. And they found that it did in the workplace. One person was smiling, everybody started smiling. One person was frowning, everybody started frowning. It's an effect that goes on. And Rav Pam brings down here that it's very important for people to do achnasat orchim when you have guests over. Some people feel when they have guests over, sometimes they just invite guests because they have to. He invited me, so I have to invite him. And they get him, and he comes to his house, and they're like, "Hey," and they don't give it with a true heart and a true face. Trust me, the guest will feel it. That they don't really want to give anything, and they don't bring out anything good. A host that really wants to invite guests to his house has to go out of their way. He has to buy something his guests like. He has to serve them with the biggest smile. He says, "Oh, you want to check out the next thing I have?" And he brings it out with them with like, ahava. That's the way a person's supposed to treat somebody, with a smile. That's the power of a smile. They bring down a story of Yechiel Mordechai Gordon, that he was a Lamzar Rosh Yeshiva, and he left Poland right before the World War II started, and then he couldn't get back, and his family was there. And one day, the letters from his family stopped coming, and he feared the worst. And one day somebody comes to see him and says, "By the way, I witnessed that your family got wiped out by the Nazis." And he started to cry. And that minute, someone walked in to tell the rabbi some good news. One of his students, in America. So at that minute, the rabbi's face totally changed. He said Shalom Aleichem to his student, and he talked to him very nicely. And after the boy left, again, he started to feel very bad. So the man who brought him the news and saw it, he said, "Rabbi, how can you do this?" And he said, Rabbi Shaul Salanter said that your face is a Reshut Rabim. Everyone sees it. You can't put a bore, you can't put a pit in the middle of the Reshut Rabim. You put it in your face, everyone's going to get affected by it. So he says, I couldn't do that. But my heart, I do feel it. Obviously, Rav Pam says, let me just read this last paragraph and we're done. Obviously, it's not a simple matter to do what Yechiel Mordechai did. When a husband comes home after a very difficult day at the office, it's not easy for him to put a big smile on his face as he enters his home. You guys are going to need this one day.
Yeah, I know.
A human being is not a machine where with the press of a button the whole picture can change. He had a terrible time, the boss drove him crazy, everybody drove him crazy. You can't just change. Nevertheless, many things can be accomplished through repetitive action. With practice, one can get used to having a cheerful smile on his face, and thereby greet every person in a pleasant manner. If one realizes that replacing a sour face with a smile is an act of chesed, it gets a lot easier to do. Understand, putting a smile is a big chesed. Thus, it's important to learn the lesson inherent in Yaakov Avinu's blessing to Yehuda.
So you can do chesed every second of your life.
Exactly. They say a story with the Sdei Chemed. The Sdei Chemed, he was a Sephardic scholar, a big rabbi, and I think in Izmir he was. Wherever he was, he used to have an office, and people used to come inside. He used to open his desk, look inside, and then look at his people and talk to them.
Smile.
And And one day his gabbai said, what are you looking at? He says, you can never look inside my desk. I don't want you to look. So eventually the gabbai got too curious one day, and he went and he opened the thing. And he did, and he wrote there what it said in Perkei Avot. Heaven Mikabel is Kol
I
Adam.
was thinking about that.
B'Sefer Panim Yafot. You should read.
Greet people happily.
Greet people happily. And that's what he always looked at. Every time he opened it, he greet people happily. That's the thing you have to learn. That's what he did. So put it in your pocket. So we have one pocket that has, like we said last week, I'm nothing. No one says I'm everything. You have another pocket that says,
right here.
Back pocket.
you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking.
He has it.
I always walk around with this one. Keep smiling. And then I have another
What's in
one.
the back?
I don't know. I just
The
found
value
it.
of a smile.
And the other one says, cheer up. It's all for the very best. So this is my things when I go for my money. It's very hard it's very hard to part with money. So you look at it and you say, it's all for the very best.
Very good.
Cheer up, keep smiling.
Where did you get it?
I found it one time. I went to shul and someone was giving it out. So I took them. It's true.
Good shul.
So you see, a person has to keep smiling. It's a big chesed, and it helps him live his life in such a better way. All right, guys?